Okay. So starting in easy cross-leg position, you can also be on your knees if that's not comfortable. You can raise up by sitting on a block or a cushion if this feels super tight on the hips, sitting cross-legged. Just rest the hands on the knees or in the lap. Take a nice big deep breath in, sit tall. As you exhale, let the shoulders relax and just close down the eyes. And just taking a few deep breaths here, breathing in and out through the nostrils if we can. And just noticing the breath. So our resting breath is quite short and shallow. We just want to be aware of the length and the depth of that breath. So which parts of the body are you breathing into, and how does it feel as the breath moves around the body? Placing your left hand onto your heart, your right hand onto your solar plexus, just above your belly button. Just feel the way that your body reacts to your breath. So we can keep the eyes closed as we do this. And a regular breath tends to just be into the chest area. So for a yoga practice, we want to push the breath down a little bit deeper. So push it down into the belly area. So when you inhale, you should feel the body react beneath both of your hands. So we allow the belly to balloon. Always ensuring that the exhale is long and complete as well. So breathing in deeply, really finding a full length of breath. So each inhale, we allow the spine to lengthen. And with our exhale, we allow the shoulders to soften and we ground down through the sitting bones. So we're really connected with the mat beneath us. Good way of grounding, taking yourself out of your head before you start your practice. So just being aware of the breath as it flows in and out. Just feeling that breath moving in and around the body. Can you push the breath down deeper? Can it get down past your belly into your hip area? And maybe it can go deeper still, into the legs, down into the feet, into the toes. So really breathe in as if you're trying to fill every single little tiny part of the body with breath. You may be able to hear your breath. You may be able to hear others' breath, that's fine. Just keep it flowing. We want to create a smooth cycle of breath. And that breath is going to guide you through your practice today. I'm going to give you lots of pointers about when to inhale and when to exhale, because we use the breath to guide us and to take us into postures. So once we've created that lovely smooth breath pattern, try to keep it going. And then bring your hands into prayer at heart center. Today I would like you to think about somebody or something that you want to send your love and energy to. It could be a member of your family, it could be a friend, it could be a pet, or just anybody that you know perhaps, or maybe a complete stranger, just somebody that you think needs a little bit of love and energy sending their way. And I want you to dedicate your practice to them. So just picture that person, that object, that animal in your mind, and just send your love, your energy their direction. And as you inhale, really breathe in, fill up positive love and energy, and then as you exhale, send it to them. Okay, now let's open up the eyes. As you inhale, take your arms up to the ceiling and stretch. Find a stretch coming through the sides of the body. As you exhale, bring your arms down by your side, just circle them back down. And then again, inhale, lift up. You can look up at your hands. Exhale, bring them all the way down to the side. Good, once more. Inhale, lift up, reach up. And then as you exhale, circle the arms back down to the side. Lovely. Now, inhale, lift the arms up. We're going to drop the right hand down to the floor, reach the left arm overhead, and come into a side stretch. But keep the left sit bone planted on the mat, and then extend and reach those fingertips all the way over. Good. Breathe into your side body. You can bring the forearm down to the floor if that feels okay, but we want to keep the sitting bone on the mat. Good. And then inhale, raise your arms back up to the sky. Change sides. Left hand down, right arm over. Keeping that right sitting bone planted, breathing into the right side body. The left forearm can come down if you wish. Good, so as you inhale, reach those fingertips over. As you exhale, we can go a little deeper. See if you can get deeper into the stretch. And then inhale, raise both arms up towards the ceiling. Good, as you exhale this time, we're going to bring the left hand across onto the right knee. The right hand just goes behind the back, and then we turn to look over the back shoulder for seated spinal twist. Good, so we want to keep the spine super tall. As you inhale, grow tall. As you exhale, twist more. Push against this knee to twist yourself around a little bit deeper. Good. Inhale, raise your arms up to the ceiling again. As you exhale, twist to the other side. So right hand coming across onto left knee. Left hand behind you. Good. And just look over the back shoulder. Inhale to lengthen. And then exhale, let's go a little bit deeper. Good, and then just release, come back into center. From here, we're going to come over the knees. So roll forward over your knees into tabletop, or just make your way onto hands and knees. So tabletop is exactly what it sounds like. The hands are underneath the shoulders, the knees are underneath the hips, the feet are untucked. Okay, so we've got a nice strong spine, so engage into the core, lengthen all through the spine and through the crown of the head. Spread your fingers out nice and wide. Make sure your middle fingers are pointing forward and all the other fingers are displayed. Now we want to strengthen the posture. So if you push the floor away with your hands and with your knees, it will make a nice strong box shape. All right. Now we're just going to check in with the lower back. So as you inhale, we're going to lift the head and tilt the tailbone back. So lifting the chin up towards the ceiling, dropping the belly down into cow posture. And then as you exhale, we round the spine, bring the chin into the chest, tuck the tailbone under into our cat. And then we repeat this. So inhale, lift the head, tilt the tailbone back. And then exhale, round the spine, chin comes into chest, tailbone tucks. Good. And again, inhale, lift the head and tilt the tailbone back. As you exhale, round the spine, chin to chest, tailbone tucks under. Good. And then just release back into a neutral position. From here, put your big toes together to touch. Now, this is personal choice. You can either keep your knees where they are or take them a little wider as you push your bottom onto your heels to come into child's pose. Now, the arms can stay as they are. Drop the elbows down and bring the forehead to the floor. This is your resting posture. Okay, if you want to keep it stronger, then keep reaching the arms forward, maybe come up onto your fingertips. But you want to try to allow your bottom to drop onto your heels. Big toes are always touching and the forehead to the floor. If it's too much, you can make a little pillow with your hands and place them underneath the head. And then we just breathe into the back body here. So we're always focusing on breathing into the chest and into the front ribs. Now I want you to breathe into your back ribs. Just notice how the back is feeling, especially in the lumbar spine. This allows us to release. And if at any point in the practice you need to take a rest, this is your posture. It's a really good way of just calming down the mind, the body, the breath, the heart rate. If you just need a rest, just come into child's pose at any point. Okay, now let's bring it back forward into our tabletop. Knees are underneath our hips. Tuck the toes under, making sure the fingers are spread out nice and wide. We're going to lift the hips up high and move into our downward facing dog. Okay, so down dog is an inverted V shape. The hands should be about shoulder distance apart, the feet should be hip distance apart. Now we push the heels down towards the floor and lift the hips to the sky, and then move the chest back towards the thighs to make it really strong, ensuring that we're pushing through our hands. If you activate your finger pads, it will take the weight out of your wrists. And then if you give your head a bit of a shake, it will release tension in the neck and allow the head to just hang heavy. So we shouldn't have any tension in the neck. And then let's just pedal a leg. So bending one leg, pushing the opposite heel to the floor. And then bend the other leg. So it's like we're pedaling out our dog. Or taking our dog for a walk. We're just bending one then the other. And this gives us the opportunity to see how our legs are feeling, see how everything's feeling really. See what we're starting the practice with. So you can lift up onto your toes, you can have a little wiggle through the hips. There's no rules, there's no right answer, just move in a way that feels right.
And then when you're ready, you can settle back into your downward facing, pushing both of your heels down towards the floor. Good. From downward facing dog, we're going to walk our feet to our hands. So stay folded over. And just with little steps, walk your feet up towards the top edge of your mat. So we're coming up to the top. And then once we're there, the feet stay at distance, soften through the knees, take hold of opposite elbows, and then hang. This is called Ragdoll for obvious reasons. We're just hanging over our legs. And if your hamstrings, so the back of your legs are super tight, soften the knees a bit more. Let your chest be on your thighs. Now the head, you don't want to be lifting the head, just let it hang heavy. And again, you can have a little sway or a rock here. That always feels quite nice. The other thing you can do is release your fingertips to the floor and rock forward and back. Taking the weight from the balls of the feet to the heels and vice versa, because this just allows you to find that place of equal pressure through the feet. Once you've got equal pressure through the feet, we're rolling up the spine, so keep the knees soft, keep the chin to the chest, roll up really slowly. Once you come up, bring your head up, then take your arms to the ceiling, touch your palms together, look up. As you exhale, bring your hands into prayer at heart center. Good. Then we'll bring the feet together, turn the palms, bring the arms down by your side and turn the palms forward. This is mountain posture. Okay, so we want to ensure that we're not sticking the bum out, we've got it tucked under, so we've got some activation through our core. The shoulders roll back and down, the palms are facing forward. Okay, so we start in mountain posture. We're going to take a sun salutation to get ourselves nicely warmed up. So as you inhale, sweep and lift the arms to the ceiling. Look towards your hands. As you exhale, slowly fold from the hip crease and fold over your legs. Good. As you inhale, bring your hands onto your shins, lift the chest, lengthen the spine. So this is halfway lift, flat back position. So we straighten off through the legs and we extend from the roots all the way to the crown of the head. As you exhale, soften the knees again, hands to the floor. Step back with the right foot. So step the right foot back, so we end up in a lunge position, and we should be looking forward here. Then we're going to step back with the left foot, and we'll end up in a plank. Now with plank, we don't want the bum down, and we don't want the bum up. We want it level, all right? If this is too much, we can always just take a 3/4 plank. So hold plank. Push the space between your shoulder blades towards the ceiling. Good, breathe in here. As you exhale, drop the knees down. Then we're going to lower chin and chest to the mat, keeping the elbows into the ribs, okay? Chin and chest comes down, and then release yourself, lay down and tuck your toes. Hands are under shoulders. As you breathe in, push into your hands, lift the chest into a back bend. So this is cobra, look forward. We want to avoid the shoulders coming to the ears, so roll them back and down, hold here. Core is engaged, and make sure the tummy is nice and strong. Good. Exhale, lower the chest back down to the floor, and then push into your tabletop. We're going to go back to child's pose. So the bottom comes to the heels, the forehead comes to the floor. So this is your exhale. Keep the elbows lifted so the arms are still nice and strong. Inhale, come into your tabletop again. Good. Tuck the toes, lift the hips, and into your downward facing dog. And then just take a breath or two here. Pedal the legs again if you need to. Okay, then just to finish this sun salutation, look between your hands. We're going to step the right foot between our hands. So if you look forward rather than down, it helps you to step your foot forward. You can always give it a hand, you can always step, double step, so a couple of steps to get it there. So we're into that runner's lunge position. Okay, then step the left foot up to join at the right, halfway left. Exhale, forward fold. As you inhale, rise up, lift up, hands to the ceiling. Exhale, bring the hands into prayer at heart center. Good, so we'll do the same on the other side. So inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Hands onto the shins, halfway lift, so we lengthen the spine. Then soften the knees, fold over your legs. Step the left foot back this time. So we do exactly the same thing, but stepping back with the left. Okay, so we're in that lunge position, then step the right foot back and find your plank. Keep it all nice and strong. Remember, as if you're zipping up your jeans. So nice and strong through the midline of the body. Drop your knees down. Keep your elbows in, lower chin and chest to the mat, elbows to the ribs. Release, lay down onto your tummy. Lift up on your inhale, cobra. Only going as deep as it feels okay for your back. Look forward, roll the shoulders away from the ears. Good, from here, back onto the knees, sit back, child's pose. Forehead comes to the floor, good. Inhale, tabletop. Tuck the toes, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Remember, let that head hang nice and heavy. Then look forward, stepping the left foot up to the top of the mat. So step that left foot forward, lift the chest, look forward. Good, stepping the right foot up to join it, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, release. This is where we can soften the knees and just bring our chest onto our thighs and the forehead down towards our shins. Good. Now, as you inhale, sweep and lift, arms to the sky, reach up high. As you exhale, bring your hands into prayer at heart center. Release the arms down by your side, turn the palms forward. So that's sun salutation A. We've done that on both sides. A vinyasa, we are going to use to flow our movements together, is very similar to what we've just done. Okay, so we'll be repeating that little flow quite a lot through the practice today. So starting in your Tadasana, your mountain posture, turning the palms to face forward. As you inhale, lift your arms up to the ceiling. As you exhale, forward fold. Hands onto the shins, halfway lift, lengthen. Good, step back with your right foot. Now sink into runner's lunge. So hands are framing our front foot. We're lifting the chest and we're looking forward. Now straighten that back leg. If necessary, we can always bring the knee down if we need to. Okay, so runner's lunge, lift the chest, look forward. We always want this knee to stay over our ankle at the front of the mat. Then if you push down with the right hand, take the left arm up towards the ceiling for a twisted lunge. Now you can either look to the side or towards your top hand, depending on how it feels for your neck here. Good, so reach up, look up, keep the back legs really strong and straight. Release the hand down to frame the front foot, step back to plank. So we've got that little flow vinyasa that we did earlier. So lower down, knees, chin and chest. Push through, cobra back bend. And then you can either go to child's pose if you want to, or just from here, tuck the toes under, lift the hips, and go straight back into your downward facing dog. Take a breath or two here. This is a really good position to kind of reset mind, body breath. Maybe shake the head out, maybe pedal the legs, whatever feels nice. Make sure we're spreading the fingers out nice and wide. Okay, now we're going to look forward. The right foot, step it to the top of the mat. So step that right foot forward, drop the back knee down onto the floor and untuck the back toes. So ensure that this knee is over the ankle. As you inhale, we're going to lift up into a low lunge position. So see you've got a 90-degree angle with this front knee. Now think about tucking the tailbone under and then sinking into the hip. So you should feel a stretch with the left hip flexor here. Good. So we can stay hands on hips, or you can take your arms up to the ceiling and turn your palms to face towards each other. Release the shoulders away from the ears. So if you turn your pinky fingers towards each other, it helps you to release tension through the shoulders. Good. So breathe in. As you exhale, you can sink a little bit deeper into that stretch, but keep the tailbone tucked under. Breathe in. Go deeper if you can. Lovely. Okay. Release the hands back onto your hips. Now we're going to move the hips back and pull the right toes up towards our face into half splits. Now if the floor's too far away, stay with hands on hips. Okay? But we're trying to get a stretch down the back of your right hamstring. So hands can be floor or hips. Then we're trying to take the chest down towards the thigh. Now if you turn the crease underneath your right butt cheek towards the back of the rib, it will intensify the stretch. So just keep using the breath. Take it a little bit deeper if you can. Good. Then we're going to bring the weight forward again, back into our front foot. Hands to the top of the mat. Tuck the left toe under, then step. Left foot to join the right. Halfway lift. Exhale, soften the knees, forward fold. Root to rise. So sweep the arms up to the ceiling, lift up, look up. Hands to prayer at heart center. Good, same on the other side. Inhale, lift up, look up. Exhale, forward fold. Knees are soft here. Inhale, halfway lift, so find that length. Good, then release down, step back with your left foot. So step back, left foot, sink into the hips, lift the chest, look forward, runner's lunge. Remember, option to drop the back knee down if we want to. Making sure the knee is over the ankle, push the left hand into the mat, take the right hand to the sky, twisted lunge, look towards your top hand. Straighten that back leg. So we're opening the chest fully, and then pushing the floor away with the left hand, reaching the right fingertips to the ceiling. Look towards that top hand and reach even higher if you can. Lovely. Release the hand down, frame the front foot, step back to plank. Lower, knees, chin and chest, elbows in at all times. Push through. Back bend, shoulders back and down. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Tuck your toes, lift your hips, down facing dog. Take a moment here, just release off again. Remember, you can have a little pedal or a shake out. And if you don't want to stay in down dog, you can always just come to child's pose and rest there instead. Okay, so looking forward, left foot steps between the hands. We can double step or give it a bit of help if we need to. Dropping the back knee down, untucking the back toes. Lift up into your low lunge. So just bring your hands onto your hips. Check that this knee is over the ankle. We spread the toes out to help with balance. And then a tuck of the tailbone. Then we bend, sink into the hip to get the hip flexor stretch here. Stay with hands on hips or inhale, take them to the ceiling. Turn your pinky fingers towards each other. Release the shoulders. Just gaze forward. And each exhale, we can sink a little bit deeper into that hip stretch. Lovely. Good, keep breathing. Keep going a little bit deeper if you can. Then release the hands down to the floor. Frame the front foot. Now move the hips back. Pull the toes up into your half splits. Left toes to the ceiling. Option, hands on hips if the floor's too far away. Okay? So toes pull up. We move the left foot crease towards the back of the room and start bringing the chest down towards the thigh. So we should feel a stretch all the way up and through that left hamstring at the back of the leg. Good. Now try and push your chest forward so the spine is long. We don't want to start rounding, we want to push the chest forward because then we won't be dumping into the lower back. It will all be in our hamstring. Then take the weight forward into the front foot, hands at the top of the mat, tuck the right toes. We're going to step forward into our halfway lift, hands can be on the shins, lengthen. As you exhale, soften the knees, forward fold, take hold of the back of the legs, pull yourself in tight. Squeeze in. If you can lift your tailbone to the ceiling, do so, you'll get a deeper stretch. Make sure that head is heavy, shake it out. And then release. Soften the knees, inhale, lift up, reach up. Palms to the ceiling, reach fingertips to the sky. Exhale, hands into prayer at heart center. Good, well done. So just reset, check that the breath is okay. We're going to move on to take a balance. All right, so balance. It's always handy to have a wall nearby if balance isn't great. We'll try without today. So take the weight into your left foot. Spread the left toes out. Bring the right knee up and into your chest. You can just hold the knee here. Now just focus on one spot in front of you. Something that's not moving. All right, so maybe a spot on the floor or the wall. Then take hold of the ankle. We're going to place the foot above or below the knee joint. So no pressure on the knee. And then if you push the leg and foot equally into each other, it should stay put. Then the hands can come into prayer at heart center. So if this is too much, maybe for the knee, the leg can come across onto the lower leg. All right, if balance is really not your friend, we can always just cross the right foot over the left and stay here. We're trying to aim for a little hip opener here. All right, so this is exactly the same thing. So choose your balance. Find your focal point, we call it a drishti. Stand super tall. And then if you want to, you can take your prayer up to the ceiling. You can open your arms a bit just to release off through the shoulders. And just finding balance. If you take your arms up, it's going to make the balance a little harder. So you choose where you want to go. Now, I want you to imagine that we are just zipping up from our pelvic floor, up and through the midline of the body. So we're growing taller. So the spine gets a bit longer each inhale. Each exhale, this knee can come out to the side a little bit more. And just focus and breathe. If your balance is great today, close the eyes, see what happens. We tend to get a little bit more wobbly when we close down the eyes. And if you keep falling out of the posture, don't worry, we all do, it's fine. Just take a moment, fall out, come back into it when you're ready. Good. And then we're going to bring it back into center, so prayer back in, knee back in, give it a hug, squeeze the knee to the chest, then release it to the floor. Have a little walk out the leg. Same thing on the other side. Weighting to the right foot, left knee to chest. Just hold it for a second, then take hold of the ankle, place it onto the inner thigh or below the knee, remember, and then our hands return to our prayer. So pushing feet and leg into each other equally, make it stay put. Find your focal point, your gaze point. Then if you want to, arms can reach up, they can open. You can kind of do whatever you want to do with your arms. It's up to you. They can stay in prayer if you prefer. But from your pelvic floor, up and through the midline of the body, grow taller, lengthen the spine, push this knee out to the side. Just focus on that one spot and breathe. That long, smooth breath that we had at the beginning of practice. That's the breath that you want to be taking in this posture. Close down the eyes if you wish. Good, and then we're going to bring the prayer back to center, the knee back in front, give it a hug, squeeze it to the chest, and then exhale, release it, let it go. Just give the legs a bit of a shake out. Lovely, well done. Okay, so we're going to go to the floor, so come back up to the top of the mat. As you inhale, raise your arms up. As you exhale, fold over your legs. Then we're just going to bring fingertips to the floor, lift the heels so you can drop back and sit into a little toe squat position. Okay, so from this position, we're going to see if we can drop the heels to the floor as we bring our bottom down. And we can have a little rock and roll here. This is really nice for massaging out the spine. So just rock a few times and we shall end up laying on our backs to set up the bridge posture. So for bridge, we bring the heels in towards the bottom. The feet want to be about hip distance apart. Okay, so heels into bum. You might be able to touch your heels with your middle fingers. Always keep a space between your chin and your chest, and we're looking up towards the ceiling so we don't put any stress on the neck. Arms are just down by our sides. Then we're going to tilt the pelvis. So tilt the pelvis up, push into your feet so you can lift your hips up and into bridge. So this is an easy bridge posture. We do 3 of these. Okay, so number 1, just stay here. If this is too much, you can always just use your hands to help support. Or you can pop a block or a cushion or something underneath your bottom if that feels better. But keep that space between chin and chest. Use the strength of your legs and in your bottom to lift you up higher. Okay, and then exhale, roll the spine down. So coming down 1 vertebra at a time, really super slowly all the way down and release. Good, so we'll do the same thing again. So tilt the pelvis, push and lift, hips towards the ceiling, lift up. Space between chin and chest, stay with this, or roll your shoulders under so you can interlace your hands beneath you and make a yoga lock. Now push your hands into the floor and then lift your hips higher. So this is just a stronger version of bridge. Making sure that the knees we don't want the knees to go wide. Make sure your knees are always going towards your toes. And then keep pushing into the floor, lifting those hips up high. Opening, breathing into the chest area. So if you keep your core engaged while you're in bridge, it'll help to protect the lower back. So breathe into the chest area. And then exhale, hands out of the way. Release and roll back down slowly to the mat. Good. And then we've got 1 more. So just take the breather at the bottom. 3rd and final bridge. Tilt the pelvis, push and lift, hips to the ceiling, roll the shoulders under, interlace the hands underneath. If you don't want to do this, you can always stay with the first version. Okay, so we've got a nice strong bridge. We're going to put the weight into our left foot and take the right leg up to the ceiling, pointing the toes. Now don't allow the hips to drop, keep them lifted. Lovely. Now bring that foot down. Transfer the weight into your right foot, take the left leg into the air. Point the toes to the ceiling, keep those hips lifted. Good. And bring that foot down. Release the hands out and roll the spine back down to the mat, nice and slowly. Then draw the knees into the chest. Hook the knees with the hands and just have a little rock from side to side, just to ensure that the lower back is feeling okay. So just rocking one way and the other. All right, as you inhale, we're going to lift the head up and touch the forehead to the knees. So making yourself into a tight ball and then exhale, lower. Do that twice more. So inhale, lift the forehead up, touch the knees. Exhale, we lower. And one more. Inhale, lift up, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Exhale, lower down slowly. Good. Now take the hands. We're going to make a diamond shape with the hands. So bring your thumb and forefinger together to touch. We're going to place that underneath our bottom. Okay? So you make a little diamond shape. So it makes like a little pad underneath your bottom. And then take the legs up to the ceiling. Now, your legs might be bent. That's fine. They might be straighter. Depends on your hamstring length. But bent is fine. You just don't want to be using much energy to keep your legs in position. This is called waterfall. All right. This is a super, super beneficial posture. So we always tend to do an inversion towards the end of the class. Inversions have so many benefits. All right. They are really good for flushing out the lymphatic system because we spend so much time either standing or seated. So if we put our legs in the air, it allows the legs to get a bit of a flush out because we're always just standing and everything kind of stagnates in the legs. So it's a good way of flushing the lymphatic system. It's also a good way of stimulating stimulating our metabolism, that's the one. It's really good for that. It's good for boosting concentration. It's good for if you're feeling a little bit lethargic. It's a good way to give you a bit of a boost, but it's a really good restorative relaxation posture as well. So you can do it like this. You can do it with a cushion underneath your bottom or a bolster, or you can do this with your legs up against a wall, all right? So, or on a chair or on a bed. It's a really good way of calming down children, especially if they're a little bit hyper before they go to bed. But just putting your legs up against the wall is really super beneficial to just get your legs into the air. The one thing that we need to be aware of is if we are female and we are having menstrual cycles, if you do inversions in the first couple of days of your cycle, it can often make you feel a bit sick. Okay, so this waterfall should be fine, but just don't go any deeper than this. For some people, it really just bother them. It's like, so for example, I do inversions all the way through my cycle and I'm fine, I'm used to it. But if just be aware that it might make you feel a little bit sick if you go deeper than a waterfall position. All right, so this is waterfall. Stay here if you are happy here. All right, or we're going to go into shoulder stand. So we're going to take the hands out from beneath the bottom, and then we use our core strength rather than sweeping and using momentum with the legs. We're going to use our core strength to lift our bottom off the floor, and then get hands, fingers, and thumbs onto the back. Now we're trying to get ourselves into a vertical line. So to get more vertical, walk your elbows towards each other and move your hands up towards your shoulder blades. And just ensure that you've got all of your hands, fingers and thumbs on your back and not around your waist. And then we look towards our toes. Okay? Imagine you've got something between your ankles, like a tennis ball that you don't want to drop as well. So the legs are strong and zip together. And just keep looking up, keep breathing. Now you might find you've got a restriction on your breath here. That's really good for stimulating the thyroid. So just try and breathe through it. Okay, so everything is super strong, super straight. Stay with this, okay, or option to lower the left leg down over your head towards the floor. It may or may not touch. And then bring that leg back up, and then do the right. So bring it down towards the floor. It may or may not touch. And then bring it back up to shoulder stand. If you want to have a go at plough, both legs go down over our head towards the floor. If they touch, we can release the hands off the back and interlace the fingers to make the yoga lock. If they don't touch, then just keep the hands on the back and breathe here. But try and keep your legs together. If your hamstrings, so the back of your legs, are super tight, bend the knees and pop your knees on your forehead. And this is a really nice restorative posture as well. Quite difficult to breathe sometimes, so breathe through that restriction. So wherever you're working, just always connect in with the breath. If your feet are down on the floor, you can tuck the toes under, and if you push the back of the knees towards the ceiling, you'll get an extra stretch for the hamstrings here. Right, then we're going to come out of it, so release the hands onto the floor, and then bringing the knees past the nose, we roll the spine really slowly all the way down to the mat. Once the bottom comes down, bend your knees and just give yourself another little hug. Have a rock from side to side. Just check in with how the back is feeling. Okay, then keeping the knees and the ankles together, take your arms into a crucifix. Then we're going to drop both knees to the left. So we take the knees to the left, but keep the shoulders on the mat, and then turn to look to the right. We'll get a nice stretch through the side body. So this is reclined spinal twist. Okay, so try to resist the lift of the shoulders as you inhale, and take the knees deeper over as you exhale, breathing into the twist. Good. So we stay here for a few breaths. Maybe close down the eyes. And then inhale, let's bring the knees back to center, and let's take them the other way. So take them over to the right, turn the head to the left. If you want to make this deeper, you can always cross the legs, because that makes it a little bit stronger. Or you can use your hand to pull the knee further over if you want to. But try to maintain contact with the shoulders on the mat. And always turn the head as well, so look in the opposite direction, so we take the twist through to the neck as well. Good. Okay, so bring it back to center. Slowly bring it back in. Hug the knees in, bring your forehead up, touch your knees with your forehead. Tight ball. As you exhale, release, head and shoulders to the floor. Now drop your feet to the mat so that they are mat distance apart. And then you can knock the knees together. This is a really good relaxation if you've got a niggly lower back. If your back's okay, you can slide your legs along and come into corpse pose. So the feet are at least mat distance apart. The arms are by your side, palms are facing up because it allows the shoulders to open. Let your head just rest wherever it feels comfortable. Remember, we can do the bent knee option if the back isn't great. Now, if you take your limbs away from the midline of the body, it will allow the hips and the shoulders to open up a little bit more. The head can rest wherever. It doesn't have to be facing up. Just be comfortable. Take a nice big deep breath in. And as you exhale, release, relax, close your eyes. This is your final posture, Shavasana, corpse pose. Possibly the most important posture in yoga practice. This is the position that most people struggle with, especially when they first start practicing yoga, because it's where you have to be still. Okay, so we've got to try and resist the urge to fidget. But if you do need to move, do so with the intention of finding stillness again. But just be still. And like we did at the beginning, connect in with your breath. I always like to do a body scan around each Shavasana. So I start at the top of my head and I work down through the body and I just notice how my body feels physically. So go through each individual body part. And if there's a particular area that is holding tension or that feels a little niggly, or maybe you've got an injury somewhere, just be aware of it and notice how it's feeling. The exhale is such a powerful thing that you can use your breath to release as well. So if you say you've got a lot of tension in your shoulders, then as you breathe in, send your breath to your shoulders, and then as you exhale, try to let them soften and drop even deeper. And you can do that with any part of the body. So maybe the leg muscles are feeling tight, you send your breath to your legs. As you exhale, you allow the legs to relax. So just go through your body and notice if you need to release any areas. And also the facial muscles. We hold tension in the face without even realizing it. So smooth the forehead, relax the jaw, soften the cheeks as well. Release facial tension. Just allow your breath to return to its own natural rhythm. So we're not having a deep, long breath anymore. We're not changing the breath. We're just allowing it to flow in and out as it wants to. You can do the hand on the heart, hand on the solar plexus thing again if you wish. Just stay in this position of stillness. We tend to hold this for between 2 and 5 minutes. And when we find stillness, our mind tends to take over. So we often start thinking about moments in the past or moments that are to come. So like maybe to-do lists, shopping lists, that sort of thing, or something that happened earlier on in the day, earlier on in the week. Try to avoid being distracted by those thoughts. And instead, just keep your focus on yourself, on your body, your breath, and your position of your mat. Okay, so the mind will become busy, it always does, all right? And people say, clear your mind. That's a really hard thing to do. So I tend to say, try to just turn the volume down in the mind. So we always have that internal chatter going on in our head. It's just a case of turning that down a touch. If you can't turn it off, just ignoring every little bit of distraction, every thought that comes in. You can kind of, as they arrive in your mind, the thoughts, you can acknowledge them, but then just let them go. The same as we let tension go in our body, we can let thoughts go as well. So you're trying to establish some mental and physical calm. And as you practice, as you develop a yoga practice, this will become a lot easier, believe me. When I first started practicing, I couldn't shut off my mind at all. I found it really difficult to lay still, but now, piece of cake. It's the best part of the practice. So it's just getting used to that feeling and that's the sensation and just being able to acknowledge thoughts but then let them go rather than latching onto them. Okay, well done. So just notice how you're feeling now, physically, mentally, maybe emotionally as well. Just check in with yourself. And then on your next inhale, start making some small movements with your fingers and your toes. Just little ones to begin with. Small movements, just wiggling the fingers, maybe rubbing thumb and fingers together. And then take the arms up and overhead. Full body stretch. So extend the arms towards the back edge of the mat, point your toes to the front of the mat. And then draw your knees into your chest and give yourself a well-deserved hug. Have a rock from side to side if you want to. Try and keep the eyes closed throughout this. And then roll over onto your right side. So just roll onto your right. So you're in a little fetal position. Take a breath or two there. And then slowly pushing yourself back up, come to seated. So just as we started, cross-legged, if that feels comfortable. Try to keep the eyes closed.
or just soft gaze at the floor. Sit with a tall spine, relax your shoulders, then bring your hands into prayer at heart center. Okay, we just need to check that the energy within and around us is equal because we don't want to get all dizzy when we stand up. So just take a few breaths here. And as you are taking those breaths, I want you to list in your mind 3 things that you are grateful for today. It can be absolutely anything. It can be a person, an object, a feeling, anything at all. But just 3 things that you're grateful for. And then I want you to picture those 3 things and just put them on a little mini carousel in your mind. So images of those 3 things just keep coming through the front of your mind. So 3 things that you are grateful for. They can be as big or as small as you like. And then the final thing is remember who you dedicated or what you dedicated your practice to and bring that energy into your mind. Remember at the start, I asked you to set a dedication. Just remember what that was. Well done. We finish our practice by giving thanks to everyone who has shared this practice today. So I thank you for joining me and allowing me to guide you. And we do that by bowing the forehead towards the tips of our fingers and saying the word Namaste. And then you can open your eyes when you're ready. Just take a moment to check in with how you feel. Well done. Good work.